President Jacob Zuma will host the President of Zimbabwe, President Robert Mugabe, during his official visit to South Africa to attend the second session of the South African-Zimbabwe Bi-National Commission. The BNC session, which will be co-chaired by President Zuma and President Mugabe, will afford an opportunity to review the state of the bilateral relationship between the two neighboring countries. The BNC will further provide a platform to strengthen and deepen the bilateral relations between the two countries, as well as to review and determine the actual progress made on bilateral undertakings and commitments made during the inauguration session of the BNC in October 2016. President Zuma and President Mugabe are also expected to deliberate and exchange views on regional and global issues of mutual concern, particularly peace, security, stability and development in the SADC region and some parts of the continent. Well, those are live visuals that you're seeing on your screen. As we can see, President Jacob Zuma and his counterpart, President Robert Mugabe, have actually arrived at the meeting.
Our respective ambassadors, of course, we call them high commissioners.
This side. This side only.
This side only?
Yes, sir.
Oh. I thought that was the remnants of the British.
They left.
They left?
Yes.
Oh, okay. Thank you. Thank you indeed. Senior government officials, members of the media, good morning to you all. It is with great pleasure that we welcome you, Mr. President, and your esteemed delegation. We thank you for honoring our invitation to the second session of our valued Binational Commission. Your Excellency, we are both committed to adhere to Article 6 of the BNC agreement, which stipulates that the two countries should meet annually. I still vividly recall the warm welcome and generous hospitality extended to me and my delegation during the inaugural session of the BNC in Harare last November. Our historical, fraternal and cultural bonds demand that we meet on a regular basis to strengthen and consolidate our bilateral cooperation and partnership. Your Excellency, we note with satisfaction the ever-growing cooperation between our two countries, as evidenced by the existing 40 agreements and memoranda of understanding. These agreements are aimed at promoting political, economic, and social cooperation. They cover a wide range of areas, including double taxation, justice, defense, transport, water, science and technology, health, migration, labor, economic and trade cooperation, and tourism, to mention but a few. We also need to ensure the full implementation of these agreements. We are thus happy that the ministers and officials have developed monitoring mechanisms such as mid-term reviews. This will go a long way to assist in the implementation agenda. My President, I wish to underscore the strategic significance of a one-stop border post at the Beitbridge border. This border post is the busiest border post on the continent. Much of our goods and services go through it. We cannot afford to continue to have unnecessary delays at that border. It is therefore important and urgent that we start in earnest the process of establishing a one-stop border post. Our two countries took a decision to do so as far back as 2009. In this regard, we direct the relevant ministers and officials to move with speed and report progress at the next binational commission. Your Excellency, South Africa has just assumed the chairship of SADC at the 37th SADC Summit, and I personally look forward to working with you, Mr. President, in championing the theme endorsed at the summit, which is partnering with the private sector in developing industry and regional value chains. Partnering with the private sector will unlock avenues that government alone would not be able to attain. The diversification of our economies and industrialization will ultimately put the region on the rightful path as global economy continue to play its own role. Mr. President, the issues of connectivity in information technology and communications should also be addressed for the region to benefit from the fourth industrial revolution. In this regard, it is worth noting that the SADC ministers responsible for communications and ICT met in South Africa from the 5th to the 7th September 2017 with the aim of establishing communication systems that are accessible, affordable, efficient, reliable, to ensure connectivity to the citizens of the SADC region. Connectivity will ensure the attainment of the goals for regional economic integration, poverty alleviation, and industrialization. Mr. President, on the 17th August 2017, I presided over the official launch of the African Regional Center of the BRICS New Development Bank in Sandton, Johannesburg. We envisage through this bank the development of initiatives which will ultimately contribute to the implementation of the SADC industrialization strategy and the AU Agenda 2063. Mr. President, we find ourselves in challenging times considering the effects of the El Nino phenomenon, which devastated our economies. This phenomenon has contributed to poor harvests in the region due to lack of sufficient rains, thus negatively affecting our GDP growth, which is mostly agricultural based. We need to put our heads together to find solutions to this challenge. Your Excellency, we meet in the month of October, which is the month of the birth of our late O.R. Tambo. I personally know that you had various interactions with Comrade Tambo during his lifetime as a president of the ANC. Upon attaining Zimbabwe's independence, it was Comrade Tambo himself who personally approached you to discuss the possibility of opening the ANC office in Harare. Then it was still called Salisbury. You were aware of the risks associated with accepting such a request, yet